Hi, my name's Dan Spiller.
My name's Marcus Jamatay, and we are part of the Marc Antoni Artistic Team.
And Joico's European, UK and Ireland ambassadors. I'm going to be working a highlight application, concentrating on the perimeter, creating extra lift around the face shape. And then we're going to be working some dimension, working with the DDs to create a little bit more contrast within the shape. And then we're going to be working a root shadow toning technique.
To complement Dan's colour, I'm going to show you a textured layered bob.
So with Annabelle's hair, we're going to be working a partial highlight. The idea is to create a little bit more dimension within the hair. What I've done is just sectioned off the very hairline just to create a little bit more brightness, so it's going to jump out and pop around the face. And then we're going to be working some internal lights with a combination of highs and lows to create a little bit more dimension and a little bit more of an interest. And then we're going to be working our root shadow. So what we do is we'll work with this section, we'll get going, and then I'll show you the root shadow afterwards. So you can see the section that I've taken is microfine. You can see all the way through it. I'm starting with a baby light weave. Then the next section is a tiny slice. And then we go back in to our baby weave. So to this front area, we just repeat exactly the same. So I'm coming to my final packet, continuing baby lights all the way through this section, just to create a really nice, bright, but very soft finish. And then we're going to repeat on the opposite side. So we're repeating on this side, working initially with our baby weave, and then sitting right on top of that, we're going to take a really fine slice. And then we're going to repeat this pattern twice, and then go into our baby light again. Okay, so what we're going to do is work zigzag weaves. So I'll be taking zigzags at a slight angle on a diagonal back. Now the plan is for us to segment this section into two. So I'll be picking out the peaks, isolating them out the way for now. And then what we're going to do is just create a little bit more dimension by working in with our DD section underneath. This is just going to create a little bit more richness. But I'm not going all the way to the ends, because I do like how we've got some lift on those very tips. So we isolate that section there, we pick out our peaks, and then work with our lightener. Now for this section, I'm going to be stroking up at the root, just so we get more of a diffused finish. So I'm not worried about it going to the very root. We'll repeat the same, creating our little peaks, then picking them out, letting that sit out, and then again working with our DD cream to create that dimension. And then we're going to repeat on the other side, working our zigzags to create different valleys of lift. We'll pick out those valleys, leave them out, work with our dimensional cream just to create a little bit more depth. So going to be working in the similar manner, but we're just taking a lot more shallower valleys, so the highlights sit that little bit softer. Once again, we're not too worried about going to the very root with the pre-lightener, because the idea is we're going to be working a shadow route through there. So we've repeated all the way through to the top. For this final triangle, instead of working with our DD through the mid-length, I'm going to leave that out just so it connects from where we've got the baby lights through the front and the dimension through the back. So I'm just going to work 2 zigzag weaves in packets just to pre-line, and then that will connect everything through and we're good to develop. Right guys, so I've disconnected this front area. So we're going to work with that front staying nice and bright all the way through. But what I am going to be doing is working a root shadow through the rest. We're just going to do it where it connects, where the pre-lightener connects with the natural hair, just to help diffuse that line. The idea is to create a slightly more shadowed root that creates a little bit more of a smoky finish. We're going to be working with equal parts of 4SB and 10V, working in our liquids just to create that tonality. So I'm going to be working through the back area first. So we're going to apply to our root. We're just going to dab it all the way through, working classic brickwork section through the back. We're looking at an inch of regrowth that we're looking to achieve. From the sides, we're going to be taking vertical sections, working back, just to put the regrowth root back in. So we're going to be applying straight onto the mid-length and ends with the new colour 10V in Lumishine liquids. Now we're going to do the front section with 10V from root to tip. So we're going to let this develop now for 20 minutes and then we'll take it off.
So Annabelle's come back. Dan's done a great job with the colour. Lovely root shadow fading out to a cooler end. We're going to get on and cut it now, and we're going to do a nice textured layered bob. Okay, so we're going to start this haircut today with the baseline. I've worked diagonal section. We're going to be losing just over an inch and a bit off the outline shape. I'm going to cut flat across the neck. We're going to start in the middle. I'm just using my comb to hold my section, and I'm going to start by putting the middle panel in. If we start on the middle, it's easy then to bring our sides down on either side into that. Again, using my comb to hold the hair in place. So after the first section, should be smooth sailing from there. Keep your sections small enough that you can see your guideline. If you don't see your guideline, then you shouldn't be cutting. So coming up to the last few sections on the back, just switched to my fingernail for tension just because we're working up and I've got a little bit better tension with my finger than the comb, and now I've got a real strong line to follow. So this last section just behind the ear, I'm just going to cut through my finger just so I've got a nice line to follow through to the side. So now we're going to move through to the side. Just make sure you allow for the ear, and I'm keeping the front really long. Just working with the framed lighter area around the face that Dan's left. It's quite fine through the front, so a couple of sections and it will be done. Right, one side done. Now we're going to move on to the opposite side. So now we're going to move to the internal layering. I'm going to start at the centre, at the back, and we're just going to be pulling straight out from the back of the head, and we're just going to be taking that corner out, I'm working a straight line. I'm going to work one side at a time, and we're bringing everything straight back. That's so we can create some inner movement that's fading out towards the front. Again, if you don't see your guideline, don't cut. So when we cross check, we should have a straight line. Okay, so now we're working into the side panel, taking everything straight back. We're going to run out of hair pretty quickly because we're directing it all back at the same angle. But it's really good, especially on finer hair, because we've kept all that weight through the front. So just cross check, come upwards, and when we cross check, that line should be square. Now we're going to work into the opposite side. Right, so I'm onto my top section. It's going to be slightly disconnected to the top. What we're looking at is our guideline through the back of our shortest layer. When we come down and we cover that layer, that's your point of your guideline. So that's coming off and taking about 1 inch and a bit, and we're going to be working diagonally towards the front, again to maintain as much length at the front as possible. The layers through the top and the shape is mirroring the layers through the back. So we've directed back underneath to maintain the weight through the front, and now through the top we're angling up, so that's going to mirror this weight line through the side. And every section we're going to be taking straight up from the head. So we're not directing inwards, we're just taking every section straight up. And we keep going until we run out of hair. So again, we're going to keep working down until we eventually run out of hair. So after you've done all your top, again, just go through across, just cross check. It should be a straight line if you brought every section straight up from the head. Again, it is cross checking. If you're out, go back and find it. So we finished off this layered textured bob just with a big bouncy blow dry. Very soft, and hope you like it.